let's just recap on last week, Steve. Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, no, it's good to be back.
It's nice to be back.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful. All the responses that we've been having, that everyone is really so, feel fed from what we said last week.
Yeah.
We spoke about
good to hear.
The acrostic that you said was great, talking about that you can say what you want to say.
Yes.
And that is to make sure that you are, gentle with someone when you're speaking, that you're respectful. Right. I think I used the analogy about the importance of like a sunflower seeking where there's warmth. Their face goes towards the sun. And as you were saying, humans, we navigate towards people who are warm, who are kinder, who are respectful, who are encouraging. And those are the things that we spoke about last week.
And also you used an analogy with a car, starting the car and revving it, as opposed to starting and letting it idle and warm up a bit, And I think that sometimes our conversation can start like that, like a car revving, make a big noise, as opposed to just gently talking and initiating it. And I think if you bear in mind the great, gentle, respectful, encourage the person to talk, attune and touch. The book goes into more detail in that on how to do that. But it's important to have that. I think in any conversation, whether you are speaking or the other person speaking to you, to learn to reject aggressive and disrespectful conversation. So if people are going to talk to you like that, then you need to, I was watching a talk the other day where the lady said you need to disconnect. So you disconnect in two ways. You either move away. So if you're going to talk to me like that, I'm not going to be part of this conversation. They continue, get up, walk away, or disconnect internally and don't engage.
Yeah.
So I think that, and look, sometimes it's hard because you want to shout back and you want to scream. So that's where you've got to learn to manage yourself. These acoustics that I originated were out of my own frustration of how I was speaking to Mandy, my wife, and my kids. And I realized that I had to change. I wasn't gentle and respectful, and I didn't encourage. I didn't listen to her. And stuff. So the 4 freedoms were invalidated in that, I didn't listen to what she had to say or whatever.
So Steve, can I stop you there? Can we just go back and can you just go through those 4 freedoms as well, just to remind everybody?
Okay, sure. The 4 freedoms: the freedom to feel what you feel without being told to feel, say what you say without being told to say, think what you think without being told to think, and go where you go without being told where to go. So in healthy relationships, so we've got to emphasize healthy relationships. Those freedoms are there. But remember, with freedom comes responsibility. So you still have to be responsible for what you say. You can't be free to say whatever you want to say without taking the consequence impact on the people. So that's why we've got to, in health, we have to be able to express how we feel about something. And I think that that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes.
Is how to express our feelings in a way that helps the person be heard, and I'm being heard, they being heard, listened to, and understood. So with that one, we use the acrostic love. Listen, be open, validate, or listen, have an open posture, validate the person, and then encourage again. Encourage is always good because encouraging the other person to talk always means that you're giving them space to talk. Yes. So I want to hear what you have to say. Tell me more. I don't quite understand that. Can you elaborate? I see this is making you upset. Tell me what's making you upset. So I'm encouraging them to talk. It's giving them space. I'm not interrupting. I'm not talking over them. I'm listening. So if you start with listening, attentive listening is focusing on what the person. So I can't be looking at my phone while you're talking and yes, okay, yeah, or whatever. I've got to have focused. That's why it's very important that when you're talking to someone, you get their full attention. So maybe before you start the conversation, it might be a good idea to say to the person, I would like to talk about something, or I would like to have a discussion with you about something, or can we talk about something? Is now a good time? No, it's not. Okay, when is a good time? So you can't say, no, it's not a good time and not want to engage. That's not the thing. It's not dismissing the person. I don't want to talk. We have to talk and we have to engage, because remember,
also you have to be ready, Steve. The other person needs to be ready. So if you want to have a conversation and that person's not in, maybe they've had a really bad day at work.
Yes.
So say, for example, I mean, let's use a scenario. You're coming back from work. It's been a really long day. You've had a lot of deadlines, and actually you just want to sit back and just have a cup of coffee and relax together with your partner. And so it's important for your partner to know, if you say to them, it's been a really busy day, I'm not ready to have an emotional conversation or a conversation about that yet. I think yet is an important word, because it's like, no, I'm not prepared to have a conversation, or I'm not yet ready. I need to wind down.
Yes, yeah. And then give it time. Can we talk about it later? Can we talk about it after supper? Can we talk when the kids are in bed? Can we talk about it tomorrow?
Yeah.
So have a time. Do that, because remember, if you've got unresolved issues, they're always going to impact. So a lot of times, difficulties and arguments and stuff like that keep on repeating themselves. They say that in marriages, 69% of issues are reoccurring issues. That means that they weren't dealt with. Yeah. So you want to deal with them as quickly as possible. So when start the conversation by saying, is now a good time? Yes. Would you like to? I was watching Brené Brown yesterday, and she was saying that her and her husband, well, she started off saying that, people say relationship are 50-50. And she says it's not 50-50, and I agree with that. It's 100%, 100%. You need to bring 100% to the conversation, to the relationship. But not everybody's at 100%. Yes. So what she says her and her husband do is they will just check in with each other and say, I've got 20%. You say, okay, don't worry, I can carry you. Yeah. Or okay, you got 20, I've also got 20, or I've got 50. Or so you're honest about. Now, obviously, you need to be transparent and honest about that. So if your partner says they got 20, you can't say, oh, you got 20, I've got nothing, Yeah. Or say, how was your day? Oh, I had such a busy day. You had a busy day. You can't up them, yes. And beat them. It's not a competition. Yes. I was watching a person who said that in unhealthy relationships, you've got two people who are working independently of each other to better each other, to not better, but up one another. I'm
better than you.
Yes, kind of thing.
Better. Like,
and so
competitive.
Yes, it's a competition. How many times have you watched the kids? Or how many times did you wash the dishes? So it becomes. Whereas in healthy relationships, it's two people working independently towards making the marriage better. So what can I do to improve myself that can improve the marriage? What can I do? So I normally say it like this. My wife's a teacher and I'm a counselor. So I have to wake up every day saying, how can I make Mandy the best wife, the best mother, and the best teacher she can be? And she says, how can I make Steve the best husband, the best father, the best counselor? Yeah. And then work on that. What can I do, as opposed to saying she should be doing this for me? Yeah. What can I do for her? So although Mandy and I don't check in with each other, I've got 20%, you've got 50%. I will be observant with her, because I know I can read her facial features and her physical to see where she's at and know that she's at a certain space. And so I will be try. I don't always get it right, but I'll try and adjust my responses and interactions with her accordingly. If I see that she's had a tough day, and ask her, and she said no, she had a rough day, then I will proceed in a different manner.
Yes. And so that's another kind of listening. That's a non-verbal listening.
Yeah.
Which is so critical, because you can read so much more from what is not being said. Sometimes people don't have the words to articulate how they're feeling at that particular time.
That's right.
I find in my practice, if people come in, they say, I'm fine. And I'm really at a point where I'm encouraging people to develop their vocabulary on emotions, because there's not only...
Listen attentively, listen to understand. And not just to respond, and then be open, have an open posture. So, closed posture, angry face, disconnected, looking elsewhere, not looking at them attentively, listening to them, and stuff. So be open. Be open to listen to what they have to say. Be open to respond in healthy ways. Be open to what they have to say. Even if they are saying something that's a little bit hard to hear, be open to that. Be open. Be soft, be gentle, listen, and be open, and then validate.
Well, can I stop you there, Steve?
Sure.
Okay, just with the open, the importance of, last week we were talking about the importance of boundaries. And when you're having an open conversation with someone, the importance of just maybe having a few ground rules when you're having a conversation. So it's like, one, let's ask each other, are we ready? Are we ready to have this conversation?
Yes.
And then in the open conversation, number 2 is, can we switch our phones off?
Yes.
Or can we put them on silent? Because if we are the most important people in each other's lives,
that's right,
then the phone is not important. You're not expecting important telephone calls unless your children are somewhere. And if there's a concern, then make sure that there's particular notification sounds that that if the phone goes off with that particular sound, it's for that particular child, not somebody else.
Yes, that's
so
good,
I think just setting a few ground rules is also important.
Definitely. And I think as far as the phone's concerned, I think the phone is such a distraction and can be such a hindrance to.
I think it's a whole conversation that we could have a whole month on that.
Yes, technology. You're the expert on that. So that for me, like even if I'm out with a friend, I won't answer my phone unless it's my wife or one of my daughters. I'll just say, please excuse me, it's my wife. But other than that, I won't answer the phone because I think it's disrespectful. I think you're allowing someone to just intrude in a conversation, and I don't think that that's healthy.
Because
and
it's
that's something that people,
space.
and you're having a conversation. So make the person feel like they that you are interested in what they have to say, and you want to be in this conversation, and not just expect it to be.
And then we talk about
conversations. And they go
off. Sorry about that.
So I think, and I think that being distracted by things, phone or TV or whatever it is an invalidation of the other person, and I don't think that that's good. So that's the V, the validation. So when I'm listening to you, and I'm being open, and I'm allowing you to express your feelings without criticism or diminishing it, I'm validating. Now, some people say, I've listened to some self-help speakers, and they say, you shouldn't need validation, and why do you need other people's validation? And it's not about validating you as like, oh, you're an awesome person and stuff like that. It's just validating your opinion, your freedom to express what you need to express, and the freedom to be heard and listened to. I think that that's important, and that's validation. When I'm listening and allowing you to talk and giving you the freedom and the space to say what you want to say without criticizing or running you down or making you feel silly because you're expressing that you're upset. So that then enhances the connection. Remember last week we spoke about trust and connection. Love is the foundation, trust, connection, and that validates my connection, and then it validates my trust, because one of the forms of trust is emotional predictability. Now, if I'm emotionally overreacting, and then sometimes I'm emotionally underreacting to what you're saying, you can't trust me emotionally. So now, how are you going to feel free to speak to me about anything? Because sometimes I overreact, sometimes I don't, or whatever. So today it's okay, tomorrow it's not, and whatever. And so I'm emotionally unpredictable. So validation, and in the book I talk about invalidators. So there's how to deal with invalidators, how to avoid. So avoid people who invalidate you. Anytime you make to feel as if your opinion or your voice or your feelings are not important, avoid those people. So there's two ways you can avoid.
I was just going to ask you, because if somebody is not validating or is not hearing you, being heard is so important. If somebody is not, and they're part of your family, they may be like a parent or a grandparent or something, or an in-law? How do you manage that? Because you were going to say, no, there's two different types.
Yes, there's two ways. The one is that you need to eliminate people out of your life, because some people are so toxic, they just need to just be gone. And then the other one is to limit their access. Now, obviously, you have to, that'll be a strong boundary you have to put up. So, like for instance, people, so you get a scenario like the son lives on the same property as the parents. And so he lives in the little flatlet at the back, and the parents just come and go. Now you get married and you move in, the parents just come and go. You got to say, whoa, hold on a second, you can't do that. Then the parents get all upset. Well, this is our house. So, okay, well, that's a boundary that should be. Now, here's the problem I have, is often people don't talk about those things before they get married. So I've said to people, you've got what degree? You've got a social work degree. You're busy working on your PhD. But for your social degree, what was it? 4 years?
3-year degree, 1-year honors, 1-year masters.
Yeah. So that's 5 years. Okay. So you worked 5 years to. So before you got married, did you go for marriage counselling?
A very short one.
Okay. So you study for 4 years. Yes. Do you do continual professional development? So you read
critical.
You learn, you read, you watch videos.
Absolutely, all the time. Yes.
And you attend seminars.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Now you get married. Did you ever watch, when you were married? Did you ever watch go to a marriage course?
No.
Did you ever read a marriage book?
No.
Okay. So now here's my problem. Whenever you talk to people, they'll say they studied for so long. So you study for 5 years and you continue to develop yourself in that particular area. But when you get married, you don't go, you go for 4 hours of preparation and you never do any follow-up after that. Then why are you surprised that your marriage struggles? I can't understand how people are struggling, because they've never done. So women will come to me and say, my husband doesn't want to talk, that I want to talk. I say, well, those things should have been addressed in the counselling. They should have been addressed. The husband should have been addressed with that and told how to talk, how to communicate, what to do, how to process things and stuff. So now you're 2 years in the marriage and you can't converse. The person's invalidating you. They don't want to listen to your feelings and emotions. They don't want to go for counselling because they're not interested in that. They don't think it's going to help. The husband moans about wasting money for counselling. So you got to say, okay, those are critical things that you need to try and do before. Now, if you're already in that, then you're going to need to have those crucial talks, and then how to deal with it. And that's a problem for me, because a lot of the people that I have in are married for any amount of years, and they're struggling to communicate and talk. And the couple, the husband or the wife, they don't want to talk. They don't know how to talk. They don't want to go for counselling to help them change. And then you end up in a marriage that is just dead.
So the important, Steve, then is like, if nothing is beyond repair.
No.
Let's put it out there. If you've got a relationship that is difficult, that is toxic, but you're both wanting to work on whatever area it is, to sort things out and to be able to get better tools, be able to identify challenges and find good, godly, wise counsel in your life, because you're always going to need people to talk into your life, number one. And number two, you're always going to need to improve and work on the area continually, different areas as you grow. And so it's not at a point where it's helpless. There's always a place where you can assist, and just by taking that step out and saying, okay, let's see what we can do. And taking, it's a risk. It's hard. It's not easy. But it's about recreating a stronger foundation. Sometimes you buy a house and the foundation hasn't been laid properly. Okay, so it's like you get married, but you haven't laid your foundation as adequately as you should. And so you can go and you can start working on different areas and build up those different foundations to make it stronger. When you can lean on the strong areas while you're fixing up the other areas that are more challenging.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And look, for me though, one of the challenges is that both people have to be as invested.
Exactly.
And so one of the questions I'll ask a couple when they come in is that, do you both want to be here? Do you want to counsel? And so sometimes, you know, I'll often get messages from women, wives who will say, I'd like to make an appointment for my husband. Sometimes even with teenagers, I'd like to make an appointment for a teenager. Okay, question, do they want to come for counseling? No, my husband, I'm going to try and, or can you please phone my husband and you know, tell him he must come for counseling. Don't do that.
You can't do that.
No, it's no good. And look, I must say, I mean, I've had guys who come in, and you can see straight away that they are anti the counseling. But after a short period of time talking and chatting and stuff like that, I mean, the one guy, he was a very straight shooter, and he just told me what he feels about counseling and everything. And when he was finished, I said, okay, are you done? I said, yes, I am. I said, okay, well, you know, I'm a straight shooter too. I call things that on. I told him what I do. And he was taken aback by that. And we had a fantastic relationship. He was one of the most committed guys I've ever had. So sometimes you just need to be straight with people and just say to them, look, I've had to say to people, look, I can't help you anymore because you come back here every week or every second week and whatever, and you don't do the homework, you don't do anything, and wow, you're wasting my time. And I'm not willing to work with someone who's not going to be because I can't change your marriage.
No.
You're the ones that have to do the work. I'm going to help you
and
facilitate, and I'll give you instruction and guidance. But if you're not willing to do the work with any relationship, so the one guy says, what's the difference between liking and loving? So if you like a flower, you just pick it, smell it, throw it away. If you love a flower, you nurture it and you water it and you feed it. That's what your marriage is like. If you love someone, you need to nurture them and feed them and look after them and take care of them. And if you're not willing to do that.
And it's not all external. It's not all, well, I'll just give you a gift or I'll just take you out for dinner. It's a lot more than just
much more
external.
That's what we're trying to talk about here, is that it's not just those external, you know, throw money at the problem, you know. And go out, do this, buy this, you know, like a lot of men will say, yeah, but you got a roof over your head. I pay for everything. What more do you want? You see, you can't substitute presence with presence.
Correct.
Or for presence. So not substitute presence with
presence.
The presence of the person. And that's the problem. You know, quality time. I remember James Dobson once saying in an interview, they said, you know, the quality or quantity. You know, which is better with your kids, you know, quality, and same with you know, with your partner, quality or quantity. He said, well, look, if you go to a restaurant and you ask for a steak, do you want a quality steak and not quantity? Or do you want a quantity steak but not quality? He says, no, you want both. You want a quality steak with quantity. And it's the same thing with that. You need to have quality time with quantity time. But here's an interesting statistic. 20 minutes a day, 20 minutes carpet time with your child a day gives them a 75% less chance of being involved with peer pressure. 3 meals a week together as a family, just 3 meals, gives them a 75% less chance of being involved with drugs and alcohol. So that investment of time. So think about it, Robin. Any relationship has to have investment of time.
Correct.
Anything that is of value has to have investment time. Now think about it. If you spent the time that you spend on your marriage, if you spent that amount of time at your job, how long would you still be employed? In which world do you think any relationship is going to exist, keep on going by just spending 5 or 10 minutes a day talking to each other, or just hardly connecting and just existing like ships in the night? You know, you're going to struggle. So those are things that you should talk about before you even get married. Okay, what kind of job do you have? How much pressure? Are you away a lot? Do you travel? Do you go? It's great that the guy's got this high pressure job and a lot of money, but you never see him. You don't have a marriage. You know, he's away all the time on business.
Going away once a year on a holiday does not allow you to build a relationship over a period of a Christmas period.
4 things that you need to do on a regular basis if you want to keep your marriage strong or any relationship strong. Verbal context during the day. Context for connection, not information. Information, buy the milk and bread, pick up the kids, feed the dogs. That's information. Still good. Connection. How's it going, babe? Hope you're having a good day. Chat soon. Short, sharp, quick little conversations. Voice notes now with WhatsApp. You can send a voice note or little message. Love you. Chat, whatever. Kissy face or heart or something. So 4 verbal contacts a day between the 2.
Yeah. So whether it's in the morning, 2 maybe during the day, and then at night. Or,
yes. Yeah. And then at night the conversations are longer conversations. These ones during the day for connection are just quick ones. Just send a quick message, voice note. How's it? Hope you're having a nice day. Love you. Whatever. Sometimes I'll send funny little messages to my wife with the avatars that you got now and things like that. And it's quite nice. Now I know my wife can't always interact like that because she's a teacher, so she can't always be on her phone, and I'm okay with that. But just work out something, some kind of motive connection that you can do during the day.
And that's not competitive.
No.
So it's like, just remember that it's not like, well, I sent you 4 messages and you only sent me 1. So now my feelings are hurt.
Yes.
And it's not about that.
No. It's about just connecting with each other. Yes, being intentional. Yes. And then remember that your response doesn't count as one. So I send one to Mandy, she responds back. That isn't one of hers. She has to respond one, initiate one.
Yes, okay. Initiation. Okay.
The second one is 6 non-sexual touches a day. So it's a kiss hello, kiss goodbye, hold hands, hug, and stuff like that during the day. And you can't make up for it at the end of the day, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got to do them during the day. And then I normally call it date night, but a friend of mine said to me, rather call it connection time, because date night sounds like, okay, day, it's got to be night and it's got to be a date. But connection time, go for a walk, go for a cup of coffee. It can be a breakfast. It can just be a blanket outside on a nice day and have a little bit of a picnic together. When the kid's in bed, what's your wife's favorite pudding or your husband's favorite pudding? Get that, put the kids to bed, put some candlelight, nice music, have pudding together, and just spend some time connecting.
Or take a drive around the block, listen to like some music on the radio.
That's it. That's what my wife and I did for one of our wedding anniversaries. I said, let's go for a milkshake or ice cream. And we went down to the beach where I proposed. And it was a windy day, so we just sat in the car. And we just chatted for an hour and came back. And that's fine. You find something, anything that's going to get you to connect with each other. And then the last one of those 4 is to go away for a weekend once a year at least. So if you do those 4 things on a consistent basis, you're not going to have too much problems. But it's the connection. When it was COVID, I was asked to do a radio interview, and they asked about how it's impacted people and stuff. And so I shared some statistics of that. But I used the analogy very similar to yours with the dam. Remember, there was an old story of the little boy in Holland, and there was a hole in the dike, the dam wall, and he put his finger in and he stopped the hole and stopped the dam from flooding. And then people came and helped him and fixed it up. I said, our lives are like a dam. And, you spring a hole, there's a bit of trauma, so you stick your finger in, and another hole in your mom or your dad or your brother. And people or activities or things would plug those holes. Then a lockdown happens. Your dam springs a leak, you plug it. No, it springs another leak. There's no one to plug it. Because all of those freedoms, especially the freedom of movement, was taken away. I can't just go to gym, can't go for a run. I mean, you must have taken major stuff. No running, no gym.
No, there was a huge
yes, I remember you used to run around your
garden.
Yes,
a big hole in the garden.
Yes, I used to track you because you used to put on your WhatsApp status.
Yes.
So you didn't have the freedom to do that. Pop into a mate.
Yes.
And some people from work, go to the pub, have a couple of beers, go home, and that was They're just there, blowing off steam.
Yes.
Or some people go home, go from work, go to gym, blow off some steam, come back, and then they're ready to engage.
Yeah.
Never had that. You had to stay at home and just work. So it was just working home. And then they found that marriages, the lawyers said their inquiries for divorce went up by 22%. Suicide rate. The phone calls went up from 400 a day to 1,600 a day.
Yeah.
So there was no one to plug those holes, you see. Now what you've got to do is you've got to say, okay, what are you doing on a daily basis to keep that energy that you have? Because you're spending energy throughout the day. So when you come home, your wife and your kids get the leftovers.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do on a daily basis to keep that energy level high, so that you have got enough energy for the people that count as well, and that you're not so you are rejuvenating in some way. So what are the things that you can put in during the day? So can you go for a walk? Can you go for the gym in the afternoon? During lunchtime, can you go for a run? Can you go for a workout or something to just keep that energy going and to keep that relationship alive?
Yeah. Steve, this has been really great.
Yes,
I really hope
definitely.
that you're all enjoying this.
Yeah,
and
I hope so.
Steve, next week,
send the comments in and like it and share
absolutely.
it. And it'll be good to hear, get some feedback.
Yeah. So any questions you have, please just post them. And
yes, we're doing questions on Thursday.
Yes.
So
on Facebook
questions,
Live.
if you've got questions, send them in and we'll answer them on Thursday.
Absolutely.
We'll
so we're looking
live,
forward to hearing from you.
Yes,
all.
awesome.
Yes.
Yeah,
and so the next freedom that we're going to be talking about is the freedom.
Is to think,
Yes.
To think what you think without being told what to think.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that one next time.
Yeah, fantastic.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.